Hi, I'm Jianna Simonet, and I'll be showcasing the CEU course, and it's on maximizing performance in collegiate women's soccer, specifically talking about energy systems, nutrition, and ergogenic aids. After every module, you'll be taking a 5-question quiz, um, and then at the end of this course, you'll be taking a final assessment. So before we get started, we're going to go over the learning objectives in the CEU course. First one is specifically analyze the contributions of the energy systems used in the sport and how they impact performance. Measure the effectiveness of ergogenic aids mentioned in this sport's performance outcomes. Achieve nutritional strategies for pre, during, and post exercise to give the athletes optimal recovery and performance outcomes. Relevance of carbohydrate loading and how hydration, along with other nutritional strategies, maximize muscle repair and glycogen replenishment. And by the end of the CU course, you should be very knowledgeable in all of these areas. Moving on to the energy systems module. This is very important to know because this is basically the base of, basically the base of all this information that we're going to be talking about. And so these energy systems used in collegiate women's soccer are very important, and they all work together to have high performance outcomes. And so the three energy systems that are used in this sport is ATP-PC, which is 0 to 10 seconds of work. So this is like short burst and change of directions. Next one is glycolytic, and this is 10 seconds to 2 minutes of work. And the last one is oxidative, and this is more than 2 minutes of work. And on the right side, you'll see a chart table, and it's basically just demonstrating the energy systems and the contributions that they have while performing this sport. So ATP-PC has about 10 to 20% contribution, glycolytic 20 to 30%, and the most would be oxidative 50 to 70%. Moving on, so energy systems for specific positions in soccer. So if you're not very knowledgeable in this sport, on the left side, I kind of put a demonstration of the 4 different positions that we'll be talking about and where they're located on the field. So we have goalkeeper in red, we have defenders in orange, midfielders in blue, and forward in purple. And to the right, you'll see a chart breakdown of every position and what percentage of contribution they have for each energy system. So you could just take a moment and review this chart as you will. Next, I'll be talking about nutritional needs to optimize performance and recovery. So I'm just going to read through this thing as it has some knowledgeable information before we move on to the next slide. So in soccer, the primary energy systems used are aerobic and anaerobic to fuel their performance. Aerobic provides energy for a longer duration of time, like we mentioned before. This applies to athletes during long stretches of play, as it is oxygen dependent. This energy system primarily uses CHO with glucose and fats as fuel. Anaerobic system provides them with energy for short bursts and change of direction. When women soccer players are sprinting, performing a counterattack, or having to make a quick change in direction, it primarily uses glucose as fuel and breaks it down to turn into lactic acid, as the system does not require oxygen. So this system is used for performances lasting 10 seconds to 2 minutes. And this sport also touches the ATP-CP system, like mentioned before, for initial movements like the short burst. Players are constantly moving in this sport from one energy system to another. So it's not just specifically only using one energy system throughout the whole match. It's using all three systems throughout the entire match. So that is the completion of Module 1. And here is a Module 1 mini quiz. It has 5 questions, so please take a moment and a couple minutes to just go over these questions and see how much information you got from this. Okay, now we will be starting Module 2 of this CEU course. So Module 2 is going to talk about carbohydrate loading and optimization protocols. So fuel for high-intensity efforts. So this is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is the main fuel for this. So women's soccer is characterized by sprints, quick changes of directions, and continuous movement. Carbohydrates, like I said, are the primary fuel for these anaerobic and aerobic activities. So just depending on your load and obviously position and what you do that day for your sport, I'll go through the different categories that you'll need of how much carbohydrate for that day. So light, which is skill work and short sessions, you'll need 3 to 5 grams per kilograms that day. Moderate, which is about 1 to 2 hours of moderate intensity, and you'll need 5 to 7 grams per kilogram that day. High intensity is 2 to 4 hours a day of intense training. This is 6 to 10 grams per kilogram. And then lastly, very high, which is endurance, or either a match or a tournament or a camp. So that's 8 to 12 grams per kilograms that day. Now moving on to body comp for women collegiate soccer players. I feel like this is a very touchy subject and very important for women to know. And I'll be talking about later how to fuel your body properly. So the body comp goals for collegiate women soccer players depends on their position and their individual needs. So everyone is not going to have the same needs as their teammate. So lean muscle mass and low body fat percentage for those who need to be quick, have speed and change of direction quickly. So this is mainly for positions known as attackers. And then for defenders and goalkeepers, we see they need more muscle for power gain, muscle mass without increasing fat. So typically between 18 to 22% is a target goal. That way we can maintain power and strength, but also they can be quick and have speed and endurance for matches. Okay, so that is the end of Module 2. Please take some time to complete the Module 2 mini quiz, which is only 5 questions. So before fully going into Module 3, I kind of want to take a look at these two tables. It breaks down. So the first one, it's typically it's going to demonstrate the typical glycogen depletion for this particular sport. So per hour, we will lose 1.5 to 2 grams per kilograms per body weight. And then per game, which is about 90 minutes long, we'll lose 2 to 3 grams per kilograms per body weight. The next table shows total energy costs. So per session, it's about 500 to 700 per hour of calories that you burn. And then per match, which is about 90 minutes, you'll lose about 600 to 800 calories or per 90 minutes or per match. So I just wanted you guys to take a look at this so you can have an understanding of how much we lose and burn during these specific trainings or matches. So we're going to be talking about fueling, and this will be pre, during, and post exercise. So we're going to start off with pre-exercise fueling. So it's important to time up your meals very well. So 3 to 4 hours before, it's good to have a well-balanced meal. 1 to 2 hours before exercise, a light snack if needed, and then 3 hours before. So it's kind of going to break down carbs, proteins, fats, fibers, and fluids. So if we take a look at the carbs, it's going to be the main source of fuel. So 60 to 70% is needed, and that can include whole grains, fruit, pasta, rice, etc. Protein is about 15 to 20%. So this could be chicken, eggs, lean meat. Low fat is small amounts of healthy fats, which is still needed. Not all fats are bad for you. So a common source is avocado. And then low fiber, reduce the bloating risk. So you could do white rice over brown. And it's important to hydrate, especially before you train. So 16 to 20 ounces of water or a sports drink is needed. And then 1 to 2 hours before, optimal or a light snack so it can easily digest. So you want to use easily digestible carbs and a little bit of protein. So for example, on the top right, I kind of put a picture of what you could possibly eat. So a common one is just a slice of toast with peanut butter, banana, and drizzle a little bit of honey. Next, we're going to talk about how to fuel your body during performance. So carbs should be about 30 to 60 grams of carbs per hour, and especially um, during the last half of your performance or match. So some options are Gatorade, Powerade, uh, chews or gels, so like honey stingers or Gatorade chews, banana slices or fruit pura patches or dried fruit. And then it's important to still hydrate during this. So 5 to 10 ounces of water or electrolytes, especially sodium, will help avoid cramps and support hydration. So weigh pre and post training to estimate fluid loss. So you want to aim to lose no more than 2% of body weight. So this is all important because we want to maintain blood sugars, delay fatigue, and stay hydrated throughout this entire match. Lastly is post-exercise fuel. So you want to consume this 30 to 60 minutes for the best recovery. So follow with a full meal 2 to 3 hours later. You want to replenish and repair. So you want to remember like the 3 F's: refuel, repair, and rehydrate. So you want to refuel with carbs to restore glycogen, repair with protein for muscle recovery, and rehydrate with fluids and electrolytes to replace the losses that you had during the match. So what to eat: carbs is going to be 1 to 1.2 grams per kilograms, protein between 20 to 30 grams of high quality protein, fluids 16 to 24 ounces per pound of body weight loss, and electrolytes can be salty snacks, sports drinks, etc. So some examples of post-fuel meals could be a rice bowl with chicken, veggies, and a sports drink, or it could be a recovery smoothie with banana, protein powder, milk, peanut butter, etc. So this is a table on the breakdown of macronutrient targets for performance and recovery. So it tells you the macronutrient and the recommendation of consumption to have. So you could take a look at that. And I also just want to mention that it's very necessary to consume carbs post performance because carbohydrates are the primary fuel for soccer, and exercise depletes glycogen. So you need to make sure that you replenish that. And it's also important to have and consume protein, 20 to 30 grams of high quality protein, like I mentioned before, because protein helps reduce muscle damage and supports faster recovery. It reduces DOMS, which is delayed onset muscle soreness, and it could support immune health and provide a stimulant muscle protein synthesis, which is also known as MPS. So this is the end of Module 3. Please complete this 5-question mini quiz. Moving on to Module 4, we're going to talk about recovery nutrition guidelines. So we're going to go over the importance of recovery, which is to rebuild muscle fibers, restore energy, glycogen stores, reduce delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, support immune function, and prepare for the next session or match. So timing is everything to optimize your nutrition needs and performance. So within 30 to 60 minutes post-exercise, is when you want to consume your meals. So this is also known as the anabolic window, which is when your muscles are most receptive to nutrients. And it's also important to space out your protein evenly in every meal throughout the day, not to just try to consume it all at once. And so 20 to 30 grams of high quality protein within that 30 to 60 minutes push training is optimal, and carb wise should be 1 to 1.2 grams of kilograms per body weight. Please take a few moments to do this module 4 mini quiz. It'll be 5 questions. Moving on to the last module of this course, we're going to talk about ergogenic aids. So, ergogenic aids are supplements that can enhance your training, performance, and recovery when used appropriately. So, one of the main ones is creatine, and creatine is um, by far very beneficial for anybody. There's a lot of research behind this. And for this sport, it increases phosphocreatine stores in muscle. It supports short bursts of high intensity activity, um, like sprints, jumps, counterattacks, quick changes in direction. And it enhances lean muscle mass and helps with recovery. So it helps with repeated sprints and powerful movements. And so when consuming this, you either do a loading phase, which is optional. So it's 20 grams a day um, for 5 to 7 days. And so if you want to do a maintenance, it's about 3 to 5 grams a day. The next ergogenic aid we'll talk about is B-alanine. So this increases carnosine levels in muscles. It buffers lactic acid, which delays the onset of fatiguing. It's very useful in high intensity efforts lasting 1 to 4 minutes. And it helps sustain high work rates during intense bouts. So, like pressing, sprinting, and covering ground in soccer. And so, when consuming this, you want to do 3.2 to 6.4 grams a day, and this will be divided in doses. The next one we'll be talking about, which is very common, is caffeine. So, this improves endurance and aerobic capacity. It enhances reaction time, focus, and alertness. It also reduces perceived effort and fatigue. So this helps maintain performance throughout the long matches or doubleheaders, which is not very common in soccer, but especially collegiately, but it also boosts decision making under fatigue. And when consuming this, it should be about 3 to 6 milligrams per kilogram body weight, and it should be consumed 30 to 60 minutes before activity. Lastly, we'll be talking about nitrate, and this increases nitric oxide availability. It enhances blood flow and oxygen delivery, and it improves muscle efficiency and exercise economy. So this supports better endurance and helps during prolonged efforts. So soccer is very known for their long matches. It could be 90 minutes or even longer, and it may delay fatigue in later stages of matches. So, when consuming this, you want to do 300 to 600 milligrams of nitrate, and a very common one that people do is beet juice, and it's natural, and it's usually 1 to 2 shots of it, and it's taken 2 to 3 hours before exercise. That is the end of Module 5, and please complete this 5-question mini quiz. And this is the end of this CEU course. And now that you have completed this course, please complete the final assessment for completion. It will be linked below. Thank you.